This video is sponsored by Alcid E-Homes, whose mission it is to accelerate the advent of sustainable, healthy living systems around the world. Hi and welcome to Best in Tesla. So there's a lot of different EVs coming to market right now, and in the coming years even more will come. But there are one very important thing setting Tesla apart and why legacy automakers are kind of in trouble, because many talks about Tesla as they are a car company, but more and more people and even analysts are starting to get it. Tesla is not a car company. They are a software and tech company that is also making cars. And we see the legacy automakers trying to compete, but they are missing one of the most important things to make it in the future car market. And that future is coming up fast. So let me show you why this is so important and what it really is, and let's dive right in. So, competition has come, like the ID3, the ID4, the Mark E, the Porsche Taycan, the Polestar 2, the Audi e-tron and many more. But most of them are pretty much just a car like we know them from the legacy automakers, but now they're just running on electricity and not gasoline, and that's great. But they have been so focused on making a car that can keep up with Tesla's range and acceleration, trying to make a battery skateboard just like Tesla, like the Ford Mark E, which is a great electric car, have decent range and for about the same price as the Model Y. But this is looking at an EV as it is an ICE car, specs and price. But Tesla has changed the game completely, and for me the really bad news for the legacy automakers is just about to start, because it is all going to be about software. And even though the others say they can do over-the-air update, they can't change anything big. Like Volkswagen Road, they will be able now to make over-the-air updates for minor software updates, or as we have seen with the Polestar 2, has been recalled twice because of software issues. And they say they can make over-the-air update, but again, when it really matters, they can't. Like the Porsche, the $200,000 EV can't really make over-the-air update. They just had to recall the Taycan because of software issues, where the car just powered down even while driving, but again, they could not fix this software issue with an over-the-air software update. We also saw the Ford Mark E owners waiting to get into their dealership to get a manual update to fix their key fob and some software issues, but they didn't even know how to fix it without the car simply dies. And the ability to make an over-the-air update is not coming before September now for the Ford Mark E owners. So yes, they all say they can make over-the-air updates, but no one of them really can. Sure, they can update the app in your Apple CarPlay or your Twitter or your Google Maps or whatever little small app there are in your car, but to fix big software issues with their cars, they still have to show they can do that. But Tesla, on the other hand, fixes everything with software update. Even back when the Tesla Model 3 first came out, NHTSA thought that the Model 3 did not brake well enough. And what did Tesla do? They made the car brake better with an over-the-air update. I mean, what a showcase of software power, and how the whole car and every little thing in the car is controlled by software. So to me, this is a really big deal. So sure, you can get the ID4. It is cheaper than the Model Y. It also has less range and half the charging speeds and not really good software. But even worse, the ID4 in 5 years' time will just be 5 years older. I don't think we will see any significant update to the ID4 coming with an over-the-air update in the next 5 years. They still have problems just getting the software to work properly. And the Model Y, on the other hand, will be a much better car in 5 years' time. and will probably be able to drive itself at that point. The ID.4 and the Mach-E or even the $200,000 Porsche for that matter will never be able to drive themselves. Even my 2-year-old Tesla Model 3 will be able to drive itself. To me, this is so valuable that Tesla looks like a much better bargain than the $10,000 cheaper ID.4, because that is just an electric car. It is not a computer on wheels like Tesla is. It is a smartphone on wheels, and the other EVs are just electric cars. This is a very big difference. And when comparing something like the Mach-E with the Model Y, because they are pretty much the same price, but you will get less charging speed, less range, less acceleration, less charging network, bad software, and the car will never be able to drive itself. They don't even know how to fix the software issues they get, and will probably never get real over-the-air software update. So to me, people that buys the Mach-E over the Tesla Model Y is because they simply don't understand this. They look at them as two electric cars at the same price with pretty much the same range, and they might prefer the look of the Mach-E, so they buy that one, not knowing all they will miss out on, like great new features down the road, making your car better and better as time goes by. The Ford Mach-E will only get old. The Tesla will at some point be able to drive himself. Not a question of if, but when. Your Ford Mach-E will never do that. So what these people are buying is just a car that runs on electricity, where the person that buys a Tesla is buying a computer on wheels. A very big difference. Just like we saw with the iPhone, people didn't get it straight away and thought that Nokia would fight back and come with something even better than the iPhone. I was one of those people. I had the Nokia N95 and I was very happy with it. And then the iPhone came out and I was like, sure, but it can't really do anything that my Nokia can't do. So of course Nokia will come with something better. But they never did. And when the iPhone 3GS came out, I bought an iPhone. And I have never bought a Nokia ever again. And we all know how the story ends. And I think we are at the first iPhone moment. People look at the Porsche Taycan and the Model S Plaid and think, oh, these are just two fast electric cars. Which one would you want? But one is software on wheels and the other is an old dinosaur. It is an EV. And that is good. Don't get me wrong, but it's not a smart car. It's not the smartphone on the car industry. Of course, the new Plaid simply destroys the Taycan on every single spec, and the software and the over-the-air update is simply just night and day. Those two cars can no longer be compared. The Plaid is just so beyond everything the Porsche will ever be. And the Porsche costs $50,000 more. It is a very good looking car and a great electric car, don't get me wrong, but it is simply not a part of the future. I know we always say that the future is EVs, but that is probably a little misleading. We should really say more like the future is computer on wheels, because sure, we all know that the cars will run on electricity, but the most important thing is going to be software, especially when the car starts driving itself. Then everything you are going to care about is what you will be able to do in your car, watching your favorite Netflix series or play a game or do some work. Well, again, companies like Ford that is still making their screens vertical, also like Polestar or even Lucid and so on, they don't really believe in the full self-driving car is coming soon because these cars are not prepared for it, but Tesla does. They are making their cars ready for the true future of cars, entertainment. Software. They have software like no one else. They have a horizontal screen because this is how you get the best view when your screen becomes a TV. You will not go home and put your TV vertical on the wall, right? No, horizontal. And Tesla has put in as much computer power in the Model S and X as a PlayStation 5. They are getting ready to have an app store and much, much more. Tesla will be able to make billions of dollars on software. And I'm not talking about the $1 trillion market for the full self-driving car. No, just Just the software in the car will be $1 billion business for Tesla, like the moment Apple made the App Store and changed the smartphone industry forever. Do you remember the former CEO of Microsoft's famous words?
The iPhone and the Zune, if I may. The Zune was getting some traction, then Steve Jobs goes to Macworld and he pulls out this iPhone. What was your first reaction when you saw that?
$500 fully subsidized with a plan? I said, that is the most expensive phone in the world, and it doesn't appeal to business customers because it doesn't have a keyboard, which makes it not a very good email machine. Now, it may sell very well or not. We have our strategy. We've got great Windows mobile devices in the market today. You can get a Motorola Q phone now for $99. It's a very capable machine. It'll do music. It'll do internet. It'll do email. It'll do instant messaging. So I kind of look at that and I say, well, I like our strategy. I like it a lot. Right now we're selling millions and millions and millions of phones a year. Apple is selling 0 phones a year. In 6 months, they'll have the most expensive phone by far ever in the marketplace. And let's see, what's the expression? Let's see how the competition goes.
He simply didn't understand what was coming and thought, well, we are also making a great smartphone. It is cheaper and we sell millions of phones every year. Apple sells nothing. Let's see how the competition goes. Sounds familiar? Apple made a smartphone with really cool software and had a user interface like no other at that time. And this is what Steve Ballmer here didn't get. People don't want cheap. They want great software. And Nokia and even Microsoft couldn't even keep up with what Apple was doing here. And the transition happened so fast that Microsoft and Nokia didn't have time to learn all this before it was too late. Google came in with Android and that was it. Nokia and Microsoft's platforms are irrelevant today. And software is today a very big part of Apple's business. It is not just selling phones, it's all the software it runs that is making Apple billions. And Tesla will also have software being a very big part of their business. And no one of the legacy automakers even understand this. They still think it is all just about making an EV, not understanding that software will be what it's all about in the future. Volkswagen is trying to make their own Volkswagen OS, but they have a long way to go. And this is not just me saying this. Even Herbert Diess said it in June 2020. It will be years before we have reached the necessary level of expertise in software to be able to compete at the far front. Even today, hardly a line of software code comes from us. And making great software is insanely hard. I have been a part of a company that tried to make their own operating system, their own software, but hiring a software company to do it, of course. But even a software company did not make the great operating system my company was hoping for. It took over 5 years just to get it running acceptable. And we still didn't have all the features we wanted. And that was a software company that made a living from making software. And someone like Volkswagen doesn't even know how to make software. 90% of all their software is made by third parties. And not just one, because they don't have one operating system controlling everything like Tesla. They have like 200 different softwares in the car from 200 different suppliers. This will be very hard, if not almost impossible, for Volkswagen to do. Software is hard. Even Elon Musk said software is hard, and finding great software as engineers is a big challenge, even for Tesla. And as we know, all the great ones want to go work for Tesla. So this will be a Mount Everest for the legacy automakers to climb. I don't think people understand how difficult great software is. Volkswagen knows they need to do this. I'm not sure everyone else is getting it. They still just think that as long as they can make an electric car, everything is good. But the thing is, it's all about software. Like we have seen in China, the Chinese don't even want Volkswagen's electric car because it's just an electric car. They want some smart tech and great software, something they will not get from legacy automakers. And just like we saw with Nokia and Microsoft, I don't think they will be able to suddenly become good software companies in time. Microsoft even is a software company, and they couldn't pull it off in time. As I said, not even all software companies are good software companies. But Tesla has shown they have the software engineers and have been a software company for over a decade. And the others that gets it are starting now from scratch. And they don't have 10 years to figure it out. But it takes a long time to come up with a whole operating system that can control an electric car. I talked about this in a video over a year ago, but now we have just seen this play out, that no one of the legacy automakers can still make great software and still can't make over-the-air updates that matters. They are still just making electric cars, and Tesla is making software on wheels. If they don't get what the difference is here, they are doomed. And thank you for watching. And until next time, take care out there and be nice.